You know, if ever was a life in hockey where people could look at making a documentary, especially the groundbreaking career this guy had and the unfortunate off ice incidents that drew a lot of press and negativity in his life. But I really believe that this guy was probably one of the most important American hockey players of his generation. Now, Tommy Williams, born in Duluth, Minnesota, April 17, 1940, known affectionately or unaffectionately as the Bomber, um, received his nickname not because he was a good skater and shooter, but because of an incident in the early 70s when he joked with Toronto customs officials that his bag contained a bomb. Now, he was suspended for one game by the NHL as punishment, but in 2020, you do that, he could be looking at a felony. Now, during most of the 1960s, Williams was the only regular American player in the NHL. Now, born in Duluth, Minnesota, Williams was a member of the U.S. Olympic hockey team that defeated Czechoslovakia and won the gold medal at the '60 Winter Olympics in Squaw Valley. He scored one goal and had 4 assists while playing on the second line with Billy and Roger Christian. Now, he first came to major prominence as an amateur, playing for Central High School in the Minnesota program in 1958. Now, in '61, he was a Boston Bruins prospect, played with the Kingston Frontenacs, where he put up 44 combined points in 56 regular season playoff game, again with that good Frontenacs squad. '62, he finally broke into the NHL with 12 points in 26 games. Now, he was a big part of the pre-Esposito Bruins for a number of seasons. He scored 23 goals in '63, and then 8, 13, 16, 8, 18, and then 4 before finding himself with the Minnesota North Stars for the 1970 season, where he put together 67 points in 75 games and 6 points in the playoffs. So he was part of Boston's rebuilding, but wasn't there for that 70 and 72 successful Cup runs. Now, 71 seasons, he split time with Minnesota and California, 17 goals and 40 points in 59 games. Now, 72, he found himself back in the minors with the Boston Braves, but this is where it got quite interesting. He found his way to the WHA in their first year expansion, was a key player for the New England Whalers over 2 seasons, where he scored 31 goals in 169 games. Now, 75 was back in the NHL with the Washington Capitals with 58 points in 73 games, while in 76 he split time between Washington and the New Haven Nighthawks. Now, Williams' stats with Washington were very interesting because he only had a few offensive players on the Capitals in 75. So Williams to get 58 points in 73 games was almost an absolute miracle. Now, he also had the franchise's first penalty shot on December 5th, 1974 against the Buffalo Sabres. Now, he retired during the 75-76 NHL season. Now, he and his younger brother, Butch Williams, were the first American brothers to play in the NHL. Now, talking about Butch, he played 108 games in the NHL for California and St. Louis, and also represented the States at the 76 Canada Cup. Now, he finished his major league career in '77 with the Oilers of the WHA, and also played for Team USA at the '77 Ice Hockey World Championships. Now, he came up in the Oshawa Generals program, also played with Denver of the WHL before making it with St. Louis, and again, his last season was '77 with Edmonton. Now, getting back to Tommy, and I hate to bring up the off-ice stuff, but it's the thing put together. He had a very diverse off-ice career. Now, because of this, that kind of limited the recognition of his playing time. He was a late inductee to the United States Hockey Hall of Fame in 1981. He should have been inducted years previously, especially prior to the '60 team. Now, because, again, he was the only American player in the NHL, he appeared on the American game show I Got a Secret, and which is secret at the time because it was early 1966. He was the only American-born player in Major League Hockey. Now, Williams' life, getting where we're talking about off-ice problems, were marred by personal tragedies that also had a negative impact on his playing career. In November 1970, his wife died suddenly. and it was never determined by authorities whether her death was due to an accident or suicide. Now, he was normally a happy-go-lucky free spirit, but became moody and later fought with North Stars manager Jack Gordon, who suspended him before trading him to the Seals. After he retired from hockey, he remarried and found a new career, and his 23-year-old son, Robert, who was a Boston Bruins prospect, died in 1987. Williams himself died of a heart attack on February 8, 1992 at the age of 51, but the cloud for some in the media, they still really don't know how to cover what happened in 1970, because we noticed right after a lot of people basically were of two minds. You know, he had been a groundbreaker in hockey, but there were so many different questions. Why would he say he had a bomb in his bag passing through Toronto? Was he looking for attention? What happened with his wife? He never, according to published reports, there was some difficulty trying to determine exactly what happened, and that kind of made the media of two minds. Anyway, WHA totals: 139 games, 89 points, 31 goals, 20 points in the playoffs in 19 games. NHL totals: 663 games, 430 points with 161 goals and 7 points in the playoffs. Now, the World Championships in 59 for Team USA, 9 points, including 7 goals, and with the gold medal team in 1960, 10 points in 7 games. Now, why was it that Tommy Williams was the only American playing in the NHL for most of the decade of 60s? I still don't know. There was a lot of great prospects, a lot of good university, a lot of good minor pro, and maybe it was discrimination, but you would think a team like Boston couldn't have found players from New England. I mean, Minnesota had a lot of prospects, but the DeBeaty only won, and you saw within 20 years maybe over 100 players in the NHL from the States. So you go from 1 to 100, so something was going on. And a lot of these franchises were American that were owning the teams, especially after expansion, so it doesn't really make any sense. But this guy was a smooth skater, good stick handler, good passer. He was sort of like, I know it's a weird comparison, but he reminded me a little bit of a young Guy Lafleur. Now, bear with me for a second. You look at 63 when he put up 43 points in 69 games. You look at his totals with New England. You look at his totals with Washington. On a very mediocre team in Washington where he could play his game, he put up the points. He was capable of scoring 20 to 25 goals a season, 40 to 50 points in a season. You look at that playmaking ability with Minnesota 1970 where he had 52 assists on a very good Minnesota team. Very good on the power play. And again, 17 points in 40 games the next season. But I think Tommy Williams, for me, one of the most unheralded and the most important United States players of his generation. Off-ice stuff, I mean, maybe in 2020 it wouldn't be taken as bad. But like I said, calling him a free spirit, I don't know enough a guy to call him a free. How could you be a free spirit when you're not even, you're 30 and you're hippies? But all I know, when he's playing in Kingston with the Frontenacs, there was a lot of people thought he was going to be a 40-goal scorer, because in that quick season in 61 where he had 42 points in 51 games, like I said. But Tommy Williams, like I said, for the Washington fans as well, it was the only one of the few shining stars, like Yvon Labre and some of the other young players, Billy Riley, Mike Marson, the two first black players that played on the same team during the 1970s. So that's the legend of Tommy Williams. If you like what we're doing here, give us a like, comment, or subscribe. And I know one thing: the 1960 U.S. Olympic team that won gold, one of the most underrated international teams in Team USA history. There was some question if they won it because they're on home ice. Let me tell you something, ladies and gentlemen. The 1960 era had some really strong teams. Canada was strong, Russia, Czechoslovakia, Scandinavian teams, but that was the team that motivated Herb Brooks to go into coaching Team USA, because he was cut from that team. So, a lot of drama around 1960. Anyway, that's the story of Tommy Williams. Like I said, Merry Christmas and Happy New Year. And don't forget, comments and requests are always welcome. And keep your stick in the ice. Bye.